So I'm sorry, guys, for the darkness in the room. I'm trying to find the best light. It's later in the day. I actually had a client for, if anyone's interested, I have another YouTube channel. It's My Shift to Keto and Wellness. I'll put the link below. So, and you can even see on that channel that I'm decluttering. I'm in my office right now. So I'm just trying to declutter, put things in its proper place, just kind of simple, live simply. But anywho, I want to take a break as I always do. I got I'm like Jamaican in my heart. And being it in a good way, guys, do not take offense. I got like 10 million jobs or just ways to try to, one, hopefully help people bring income in and I don't know, just do my part. So, anyways, we're going to get into a story time. We are still in, and I may come back to this for a lot of reasons. We are in my Textingship or Textingship series, and I am going to talk about, I think I'm going to call him Mr. Southwest. Again, I won't reveal pictures or names of any of the people that I discuss. But right after Mr. GoFundMe, I was like, what happened? I kind of went through a mini, like almost a week or two to kind of get myself together because I felt like I just broke up with my boyfriend, not boyfriend type of thing. Because I knew logically he wasn't my boyfriend. But, anyways, I felt like we've been through so much, right? Guys, these are like cautionary tales, and hopefully this will also give some chuckles and just some signs. Don't do what I did. Don't do what Paula did. So my second textation ship is with Mr. Southwest. I mean, I saw his profile, and I could just feel his humor through his profile. He was divorced. He said he had kids, and I was, again, this is from Plenty of Fish. Oh goodness, I still get that is a sight, is it not? If anyone's on Plenty of Fish, you know what I mean. So I literally I was like, I really liked his profile. So I was still kind of, after that whole experience with Mr. GoFundMe, I was like, So again, Plenty of Fish is a site where, at least when I was on when you look at a person's site, they can see that you looked at them. And I guess it depends on, I just had the regular like free membership, but I think some of the guys and gals, they had the premier or the paid membership where they can definitely see a lot more. So I got kind of like a real like fun flirty response. Hey, you weren't interested, or hey, or I saw that you stopped by, how are you, or something like that. I forget. So we started texting back and forth or communicating through the Plenty of Fish site. And it was just such a fun time. The person, Mr. Southwest, and you'll get why I call him that. I think I may change his name, but right now it's Mr. Southwest. He was just like, so lively in his responses. Sometimes you get, how are you? How are you? What's your favorite color? Green. What's yours? Then how are you? How are you? How was your day? Oh, that's great. Like, it could be so stale, but he had, like, you could tell like a lot more context and information. I was like, all right, you could tell he's funny through his text. So, I'm like, look, I'm not good with the texting. You want to just like call, and he was in his 40s or whatever. I'm, mid, at this time I was mid 30s, or kind of more in the later 30s. So I'm like, listen, let's just talk on the phone, And he's like, okay, sure. So again, first conversation, talked for hours. And to the point where he's like, look, I get up early. I work at Southwest. And I forget the job he does, but it was like he puts in long hours, and that's kind of what I got. But he was like always working. He can make overtime. So his story was like, divorce. He has 4 kids. Again, I love it was a but then here we go. And he was just funny. Like, he just had me in fits of laughter, which is always good. And he was a Christian. It seems like he had not just a Christian, he had a relationship with God. I'm like, this is hilarious. And I was like, definitely. And he lived nearby. So if anyone's familiar with like Prince George's County, He literally lived near Fort Meade where I live. So it was like, okay, this is great. We could just meet real quick. See, I mean, I think there'll be chemistry because there's a lot of chemistry over the phone, but you all haven't figured out, I'm talkative. I'm an extrovert. So that can't, I can only, when I really get in, when I actually meet a person in person is when you really kind of see, I guess, the physical chemistry and also just in general, like your energies. It was like, yeah, let's meet up. And again, here we go. I fell into the same, guys, and I learned my lesson because you all saw one of the videos, like my first videos. I definitely learned my lesson. We started getting into a routine. Good morning text, good morning call, same thing, just telling funny stories. I think I'm funny, but he's funny. And I was just like, I really like this guy. But every time it was time to meet up, and again, our kids are older, it's like we could never meet up. And so I'm just like, okay, like we could just go meet up at the Starbucks. I mean, it doesn't have to be anything, we could take a walk. And he had just started, so I'm keto. He had just started keto as well. So I'm like, listen, I think I'm being led to actually, do a business with this. It doesn't have to be the most profitable, but I definitely, because I started coaching people on keto, the healthy ketogenic lifestyle, like immediately. I lost like, over 60 pounds the last 15 months or the last 18 months. It's just been such an amazing experience. So anywho, sorry for the side note. So I was like, look, giving him little pointers, try this, try that, this, that, and the third. So I didn't learn from Mr. GoFundMe, did I? Because we immediately get it, because we kept saying we're going to meet up. So never was able to meet up. And, things in the conversation. So let me tell you how this goes. I actually got a gift for his daughter, his eldest daughter, from church. I got a gift for him. Listen to me. I learned my lesson, guys. I have learned my lesson. Okay, I learned my lesson. You don't do wife things and you're in a boyfriend, girlfriend, or significant other relationship. That's what you don't do. 2, you don't do girlfriend things and you're in a texting ship, a sometime ship, a situation ship. You don't do girlfriend, boyfriend, significant other things when you're in that situation. You don't go buy gifts. You don't send cards. You don't do that. So I'm getting excuse me guys, I'm getting my boundaries and stuff together myself. And any one of you guys out there, gals and girls, men and boys, keep our boundaries. We are adults. We lay things on the line. Like, what is this? And now, years later, I can appreciate when I was dating the half African American man. I can appreciate where he was coming from, but I was younger than him. And I think he was older. He was either in his 30s and I was in my 20s. Like, I didn't understand where he was coming from about, like, it doesn't take you all day to recognize sunshine, you lock it down. I didn't understand where he was coming from. Now, I really think, he's with whom he should be with, but I kind of go back to that. It was just that ultimatums. I'm still not a fan of that either. But I wish he had put his cards on the table, and now I know to put my cards on the table. If I ever, get into a physical one-on-one, I'm across from someone in some type of dating capacity, I know to just kind of put all of my cards on the table. And again, you have to go through the process. I know many of us don't want to go like, how are you? What's your favorite color? Or whatever. And I'll give you more substantive questions and dialogue to bring to a date. But you don't want to start over. That's a lot of us. We don't want to start over. We're sitting there and we're having long conversations. But this is when I'm also going through what, guys? The spiritual awakening. And again, it's not like I didn't believe in God or felt like I had a relationship with God my life or just over my adulthood and my youth. But something happened, guys. I told you, if you go to my other channel, you'll see my son and I doing a review. Something something happened when we took this Alpha course and just joining this church, First Baptist Church at Glenard, and something happened to us. Something happened to me. And it's just, I don't know, things that I really struggle with or I suppress, like forgiveness, how to recover from bad decisions. What does it mean to truly be a Christian? And why do people have such a disdain for Christians? And can I look in the mirror and am I acting Christ-like? Can I go to someone and apologize when I've wronged them? Like, it just made me just start to look at things and really just, I don't know, want to be in the downtown with the will of God in my life. And it doesn't mean I'll be perfect or do everything, but, do I have his spirit living in me where I can, right the wrongs, at least make an attempt, an honest, earnest attempt. So anyway, this is where I think me and Mr. Southwest, we started to really go off the rails because we could never meet up. We could never ever meet up. I remember going to my girlfriend's daughter's birthday and my bestie and her husband was there. And I asked them, like, what does it mean? Like, I had a lot of my son, he wasn't working yet, I think. Maybe he was working, but he has his life. I can go, meet up. And I was like, what does it mean when a guy, he literally lives 20 minutes away from me, but he never has any time even for a quick meet. So of course, this is my bestie. She's like this. We doing this again, Paula? And I was just like, I know you're right. I learned from the whole GoFundMe situation, but her husband, and maybe he did it. I'm starting to think now, I really look like a sad bird to him or something, or maybe I am a sad bird. And so he just was like, well, tell me a bit, I need a little bit more information. So I was like, I think he does some sort of shift work and he does massive overtime. Like he'll literally sleep. Like he works, he loves his family, but he seems like he's always at, Southwest. That's where he works at. And it seems like it's a very labor intensive job. And sometimes he'll sleep there. And he was like, well, it could be that he's just working. He's just tired. And the time that he can, like, meet up with you, maybe he's like resting, and of course I was like hopeful. I'm like, oh, really? I said, girl, you done married that's a good one right there. You got a good man. And this is my bestie. I can't even do what she's like. Why are you doing that, girl? Why are you doing that? Like, she just looks like I can see her eyes the truth, but I don't want to like admit the truth to this situation. And so I proceed to, and again, it wasn't as long as Mr. GoFundMe. So we probably talked for like 2 or 3 months. I think Mr. GoFundMe was like getting into month 4 or 5, 4, I don't know. It seemed longer. So I am kind of learning my lesson, guys. Don't do what I did. Kind of learning my lesson, guys. Just don't do what I did. And this is to prevent someone from wasting. And I would say investing your time, your energy. And so this is where I think that put the nail in the coffin, guys. So he kept saying, like, he's very attractive. Very, 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 very attractive. But I'm going to tell you some pointers to look out for, which I think his personality, not the fact he was attractive, but his personality was just, you don't really get from a guy. He was just full of life, and it was just like, you really don't get that now, especially in our age or in our 40s. He just had a lot of life in him too, and a lot of jokes. So there are a lot of things now I think about it. He would say things like this: I'm used to getting attention. And I don't think I understood. I was like, okay, that's cool. Like, so he's used to women chasing him. Probably because of his personality, and he's intelligent. He, and he's funny. He's used to women chasing him. He's used to being chased. He doesn't do the chasing. And I don't know if I get into chasing. Let's not go there right now, because I'm not sure. I don't know really what that means. I hear a lot of this stuff now, and the blue pill and the red pill and the green pill and the white pill and all this other stuff. So, but I'm just thinking about what he said, and I wasn't doing that. Now, I am a person like, yeah, let's talk. You call, if I really, you're on my mind, which hopefully we're meeting person is frequent, you call them, they call you, vice versa. So I'm not counting like, oh, 1 and 0, and you call me once, and I gotta wait for you to call me. I'm not used to that type of world. So I was just like, I don't know, I'm not. But he's like, he's used to women chasing him. And he's also probably used to women wanting to get physical very quickly. And with him, I started talking about my abstinence. At that time, I wasn't like celibate, like I had a purpose, but I was like, you know what? I'm abstinent. I don't want to have sex until I'm married, and or I don't want to have sex again, till I'm married, because it's just too much. It's just too much out there. And I wasn't even sure if I was saying that or if I was saying like I definitely have to make sure the clinic, like we're checked out and things like that. So I don't even know if I was on it like, like sex until marriage at that point. But remember, he's meeting me. I'm doing these classes, spiritual rejuvenation. I'm getting all this good nuggets and stuff from the Bible and God. And I'm like, ooh, forgiveness and all this stuff. Turn the other cheek and all this stuff I'm hearing. So be on the lookout, this guys. Remember I told you, I'm not a fan of talking about your exes. And even though we spent a long time on the phone and we talked for a few months, he always brought up his ex in some sort of capacity. And at first it wasn't as lengthy as, when we first started talking. So I'm like, okay, I have this thing about that. I don't do that. And like I said, I keep it real straight. Like I keep it real kind of, I'm not like, oh, my baby daddy my son's father did this. I'm like, we're adults. To this day, he'll do stuff that I don't like, but it's not, I can't major in the minor. So he started talking about his ex and how basically his living situation she's the reason for everything. And I'm just like, you're a grown man. You're a grown adult. You can't blame anyone else. Well, she didn't do this and she took me to child support. Like, you're supposed to go to child support. Or you're supposed to support your child in some capacity, whether it's child support, whether you all can come up to an agreement, especially if you want to be in your kid's life. Now, if you don't, go back to my other video. Leave people alone. If they don't want to be involved in your child, you don't need them around your child, even in money. Just leave it be. But if they, divorce and they want to be involved in their child and they, child support is fine, or whatever agreement the two people can come up with. And he's like, well, I ran into this hard time, and because she didn't do this, I lost my apartment. And I'm just like, that means you didn't have savings. And I'm not judging nobody, because I told you, wait for my sob story. I'm definitely not judging anyone, because wait for my sob story and wait for how supernatural deliverance from my foolishness. But I can't sit there and say because my son's father did X, Y, and Z or didn't do X, Y, and Z, that's the reason I'm in this state today. That's me managing what God has provided for me. And like I said, you see, I have my regular job. I also do part-time job, like housekeeping or cleaning. I start that this week or next week. I also have my part-time job as a keto coach, a health coach. It's not necessarily least profitable right now, but I get so much from helping people and getting them started on keto and getting their likes and dislikes to help them with their keto meals. And I do grocery shopping tours and tutorials and cooking and things like that, meal prepping and things like that. So I just love that part of it. So I haven't, like I said, seen a lot of profitability from it yet. But I just love that about it. I'm also going to start doing your business ads or reviewing people's resumes. I tend to be really good at that. So, okay, whatever jobs, and I'm thinking about working part-time at Wegmans for a day or two or something like that. So, okay, I'm not going to blame where I'm at now on my ex. So he did that. And I kind of let it go, but he was just starting to really go in on his ex. And I don't like that. I don't care whether she's a witch. One, you have not one, not two, not three, but four kids with her. Granted, you were married, but there is a such thing as vasectomy, birth control, and there's so much things, some condoms, things that you can use. or even the rhythm method, which is like following the calendar and your mucus. Like if that's what you want to do. So the fact that you had not one, not two, not three, but four kids, it lets me know like she wasn't all that bad. At least enough for you to, create life with her. So this is when it came to two different things. I don't like that, guys. And then I know that about myself. I don't like that. And if I meet someone and they started dogging their ex out immediately, I don't like stuff like that. That'll be a turn off for me because we grown. You don't like somebody or they're different. That's why you're not with them anymore. And you should have been paying attention to those things when you were sleeping with them and this, that, and the third if you have kids with them. Like nobody should have any sympathy for me. Now, I will say this about my son's father. We were both Christian when we started. Now, we were young. So, granted, I'll throw him several bones that he didn't know himself. But we were both Christians. We both had the same belief system when we started out. Okay? Someone changed. I'm not going to say who. So, someone changed. And that flipped our whole relationship upside down. I'm not mad because I'm glad he didn't just, in silence be in a relationship with me and then knowing that he really had some heartburn about things that were important to him, because he's with my son's stepmom. They're a great match, and one of the first things, they have their same belief system. So anyways, this is when I may have overstepped, but I'm glad I stood by it. I said, listen, he said that his son was going to a special school or private school and he's busting his butt, working overtime and, making digs that the mom didn't do the same thing and that he wouldn't allow her to come to the games. Like the son plays sports, the games, and that she wouldn't be allowed to go to the graduation. And I was like, oh, you just joking. You just mad. That's what people say. You just mad. That's what people say. But no, he was completely serious. So all that joking that he had and funny and fun, he literally, you couldn't find any of that on him when he started talking about his ex and the fact that she will not be going to the son's graduation. And I'm like, okay, I hope your son doesn't know how you feel. He was like, yeah, he knows. And if he wants his mother to come, then I won't be there. And I'm just like, why would you put your son in that situation? Like, why would your ills against, even if rightfully so, I'm not getting it right or wrong, but why would you project that and put that on your son? Everybody, like I said, there was a period with my son's father, and even when he got married, there was a shift in our relationship, and I felt, that it was not cool, just kind of the way it happened. Although I'm glad it happened. But I wouldn't put that on my son. And I used to make little jokes, little jabs. I tried to get it in there. But my son put both me and his dad in our place. He's like, you're not funny. I said, oh, I'm just joking. He's like, no, you're making jabs at dad. And I don't like it. I would never allow him to say anything, even an inkling of anything that is derogatory about you. And he's like, even if it's true, and most likely if it's you, Ma, it's true. I was like, why you saying that? He was like, Ma, even when I know, just how you can be, and it can be true, they know not to say nothing about my mother. They just know. And even I'm shaking my head like, Mom, why is my mom like that? And I was like, I don't do nothing. He said, Mom, look, listen, the whole point is they're not allowed to say anything, at least in my presence. So he had to put me in my place about his dad, and because I would do those little those little jabs that you do, like, ooh, ooh, ooh. And he was like, no, you can't do that. So my son doesn't play around with that. And I learned from that. He's right, and so that's what I said to Mr. Southwest. And he was just like, quiet. And he's like, well, whatever. I said, you're going to ruin, you can't, that's irresponsible. Would you want anyone to say that about your mother? And, well, my mom, she does this. She's a superwoman. I was like, okay, but that's still his mother, and I wouldn't let it go, guys. I'll figure out about me. That's something that it's a pro and a con, but sometimes I don't let things go. And I was like, I don't like that. Then not only did I not do that, I'm going to leave y'all the video that I left for my church, from my pastor. He did a series on forgiveness. And I mean, when I tell you this series changed my life, even now, and I may listen to it again. it just changed my life. The series, I just listened to it over and over on forgiveness, and I don't know, it just changed my life. So I sent that to him. So then I noticed, remember I told you I kind of fell into the routine like I did with Mr. GoFundMe. We would talk every day, we would text every day, we would call every day. I would run out to my car or try to find a phone so I can call him or whatever. He could call me, we would email, this, that, and the third. I noticed right after that conversation and right after I sent that video, okay, routine starts changing. I can't really get in contact with him. He's real tired. So I'm like, what is going on? I knew about ghosting at that point, and then I heard about breadcrumbing. Breadcrumbing is where people actually, they don't want to completely end things. So they'll breadcrumb. You know, maybe they got some other irons cooking in the fire. They'll breadcrumb you like a breadcrumb. And it's almost like you trail off, I think. So I think that's the right description of breadcrumbing. So I literally was like, listen, if he doesn't, so we're at month 3 or something. I'm like, we need to meet up. I would like to meet up with you. Because even when we talk, it's still be pleasant, but I could tell there was something, because he even said, why'd you send me that link or whatever? And I'm like, one, I sent it to you because it really helped me with forgiveness. But I wanted him to also see that when you're pointing the finger at someone, there's 3 fingers pointing back at you. So you're pointing the fingers at everybody around you, but you've never taken responsibility and accountability for your actions. And you don't put that on your kids, like how you feel about something on your kids, especially with the other parent. So whatever. So it gets to the point we get on the phone and he's like, I'm super tired. I was like, well, I thought, if you had time, because he said his eldest daughter was over to watch the kids, his other kids, that we could like go just meet up for a drink or a coffee or something. And he was like, okay, I'm going to take a shower and I'll call you back and we can meet tonight. Let's do it. I didn't hear from this person at all. So finally, that's my answer. So then I get a text the following day, which is Sunday. And it was like, I'm real sorry. I fell asleep. We should like meet up or something. And I was like, oh, no worries. In my mind, I'm like, y'all know what I was saying. I was like, yeah, no worries. I know you seem like you're working a lot. You're really tired. Let me know if you ever have any free time. He's like, oh, okay, bet, I'll do that. That's the last time I communicated with him. Mr. Southwest. But you know what, Mr. Southwest? I wish you well. Maybe I overstepped, my advice, but I stick by it. And you taught me a lesson. Do not get into a routine with someone that is not your significant other, someone you're seriously dating, you're on the same page. We are not doing, and that's what he would say sometimes, like, oh, you gotta come make me a keto meal. I said, I only make food for my boyfriends, for my significant others. I'm joking too, kinda. So just, that's promised me this, that you all will not do what I did with Mr. GoFundMe or Mr. Southwest. And I learned from the guy that really liked camping. That's one of my earlier videos on this channel. And he was a wonderful, wonderful guy. I can just tell. Sometimes you just tell. But for whatever reason, he can never make the commitment to meet up. And that says a lot, guys. That says quite a bit. It could say he's not ready. He's playing games. Maybe he has a wife or a husband or a boyfriend or a girlfriend. Whatever the case may be. He just, bored. But when people cannot make the commitment to meet you in person and to lay out the ground rules in our age group, in the 30s, late 30s, early 40s, then that should tell you something. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this story time. I know it's dark, guys. It got really, really dark. So I don't even know if I'll post this, but hope you enjoyed it.